Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors the elders and apostles, the great millstone, who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Akim that's out there on the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. And to Yahweh that are listening and learning. For you, I say Shalom. Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash, Brakat them. So, out here another week prophesying the downfall of America, Babylon the Great in the scriptures, and of course the downfall of all nations as they're being gathered together in the valley of Yehoshaphat to come to battle one last time, also known as the Battle of Armageddon. You know, when Esau sends his mountain of troops to fight in that valley of decision, in the valley of Yehoshaphat. Because we're in that valley of decision now, you know, which their empire, aka the American empire, has been in power for a long time, but now there's all these other nations are starting to break away from it. And in 1 hour, they're going to turn against America, and you can start to see that they're not agreeing with everything America does. You know, especially with Donald Trump and the tariffs and everything, man, they're just tired of it, you know. They're tired of America poking its nose in their business. So they're going to turn on America, and they're going to shoot missiles at her, you know, while everybody else is in La La Land, because that's what these bread and circuses are, you know. Those of us that are meant to be woken up have awakened to this, but we look crazy. We look like we're conspiracy theorists when we start talking about things. You know, we start talking about weather manufactured events, and we start talking about other events that are totally staged, like the recent Jersey shooting was nothing more than a staged event, and you had crisis actors, because you notice how the Holocaust survivor all of a sudden talked, you know. That's kind of funny, though, because how can you survive that anyways if it really did happen? But yet you have all these so-called Holocaust survivors, you know. The whole thing was a fraud, you know, because, of course, you know, they're not the real Jakes. They're not the real Jews, you know. And to say that you're supposed to be anti-Semitic, but they have more hate speech against Ishmael, you know, because all Muslims are deemed as terrorists, as ISIS, as Al-Qaeda, you know, the assumption of it. But yeah, that's anti-Shemitic, but nobody's really talking about that, you know. That's anti-Shemitism, you know, because the word is Shem. You know, there's no such thing as Sem, you know, in the essence of the way that they're using it. But nonetheless, though, you know these events are staged. And they do that on purpose because, of course, you know, that's always been their weapon, is that media, you know, their main host, you know, of the bread and circuses. Because while people think that they're getting their news and their information and their resources, what they're doing is they're getting disinformation and pretty much are being hoaxed all the time. Happens all the time, you know. The official stories are not the real stories about what's going on, you know. Pretty much, though, what's happening, though, is that things are beginning to turn. People, yeah, and that's why they want to put a stop on this, you know. They want to stop us from going out on the streets and teaching, because our people are waking up, they're listening, and they're learning, they're coming into this truth, and most of all, they're repenting and coming to their true power, you know, and calling upon the true names, and knowing who the angels are, and knowing who Yahushai is and who Yahweh is. You know, this is really hurting Esau, because in stretch Christianity, it's all the images of Esau Edom, you know. And this is all hurting him, you know, come to find out that salvation is for Israelites only, you know. And pretty much that the word Gentile means Israelite foreigner, you know, because we've been scattered among all the nations. When they get word of that, they find out that it's not so good for them, that they've been lied to all their life. Well, we've been lied to all our life, you know. We was always told we was something else, you know. So, nonetheless, though, this has been hurting him for some time, and that's why he's doing the things that he's doing. And then you got other things going on. Of course, Bashar al-Assad is winning the war, you know, in the Idlib province, as usual. So they're trying to provocate a reason to go into Syria to attack him. And they're also doing the same with Iran, saying that Iran was behind a missile attack, you know. So they're doing everything they can to get this war. And it's the Most High stirring up the Medes against the Persians, or the Medes and the Persians to come against Babylon. And that's what's happening, you know. So this place is going to be destroyed in 1 hour, you know. And that hour is drawing near. As you can see, though, that pretty much they're crashing the money system, you know. The dollar is becoming useless more and more, so that means that they're going to bring in that global currency. And a lot of places are cashless now, to where, cash is becoming a thing of the past. And they have a purpose for doing that, because, of course, they want everybody to have that chip inside of them and to pay as they go. Like these touch and pay apps, there's a reason behind that, because they want to do away with money, because you get it in the electronic V-chip system, the RFID system. They can identify all traces. They're already tracing the money anyways. Make no mistake about it, because everything gets turned into the computer logs anyways when you make cash purchases. But they want to eliminate anything you do on the street, like, you want to buy a few hairbrushes for somebody or whatever, they want to know about that. Even though they got cameras on everything, now they still want everything to be traded by the microchip, because that's Esau's final mark on everyone. And I've heard people say that, well, the money is already the mark. Yeah, but it's not a mark that makes you imprinted into your skin, though. But yes, they are tracing the money, and they have for some time. But they just want this final thing, because, pretty much, though, it's not an embargo. What it is it's an identification. They want identification. That's why the Real ID has come out, because they want everything. They want to know everything. And yeah, your TV is watching you. The microwave is watching you. They are totally, watching your every move. Of course, because that's what they want. They want total control. And they're going to have their total control. And that's why, they're setting up all these drills. And that's why FEMA has been moving in on everything, And everybody knows that. Everybody knows that they've been watched, You can't really get away with anything, and they falsify the news to make everybody believe that this or that has happened. So, when we come out here and we teach, though, we're just shining a light on it. And now, they've been exposed. And what do you think that a wounded animal is going to do when he's been exposed? Of course, he's going to come out and he's going to attack, And he's coming down with this last thing by falsifying news reports, which he's been doing that for a long time. Because, like everything else, though, they had a plan, that there would be 3 different wars. And we're now approaching the 3rd war, and what it would be fought over. Of course, because at the very end of this, everything's going to be done away with. The currencies and all that, which will all be controlled by the microchip. And the microchip pretty much is... it's been passed. It was passed a long time ago. It was in the healthcare bill. It's in everything. They just reword it so you don't catch it, but it's there. It's been passed a long time ago, because that was always the plan to begin with. They have everything on the chips. It's quite simple, though, when you think about it. So you can see, though, that this place is coming to its end, and it will be destroyed in 1 hour. And for those that are partaking in it, they're going to be destroyed right along with the wicked. Because 2/3 of our people, which is 66%, are just as wicked. And there's no coming back from that. They chose to do wickedly. They still choose to do wickedly, even though we come out here and we've taught who they were. We carry the 12 tribes sign wherever we go when we teach. And so they could have come to repentance, but there's that block. Because they don't want to come out of this, Of course, because if they did, then they would have to come forth and show their faith by coming forth and teaching. But they don't want to do that. No, they still would rather celebrate Christmas, celebrate Thanksgiving, and do like the others do. Still believe in white Jesus that loves everybody, even though that thing's a farce. And those that claim to, they don't really follow that. They hate you. They just say, oh, well, all I have to do is call upon, and then that's the end of it, But they hate you. Of course they do. They hate each other. Look at how they treat each other, You can just see how oppressed they are, You think that 1% gives a damn about the 99%? No, they don't, because otherwise it would be fair. There would actually be... it would be spread fairly. Think about it. All the structure that's around, but into a small combine, but yet you have all this land. But it ain't being spread. No, you try to compile everybody into what you call cities, even though you have all that land. So you don't spread it out and all that. Kind of reminds me of George Carlin when he talked about, places where you could put the homeless. Put them on the golf courses. Look at a waste of land that is for a meaningless sport. You could easily create houses in them areas because you're wasting that land. But no, that's not how the 1% thinks. And then they want you to go fight their wars for them, And then when you come back, man, you can't even get the benefits, and you don't really benefit from that. You get your legs shot off or whatever. You just end up being out on the streets anyways. How are you going to get a job, with all the credentials that you have and what you were trained to do? Nah, man, you ain't going to get hired. They even show you that in that movie, The Marine. You're expendable. And that's just it, though, is that all this is coming to an end, and you can feel it all around, man. I mean, the jobs are gone. Yep, this place is being shut down, and it's being done in such a way that everybody feels it, and it's just, it's dying. And that's a good thing, to see it to come to its end.